To add negative 5 and 62 thousandths and negative 12 and 9 tenths, you are first going to use zeros to cancel out the empty spaces. You are then going to add 2 plus 0 is 2, 6 plus 9 is 14, 5 plus 2 is 7, plus the carried 1 is 8, and 1 plus 0 is 1. You are going to bring down your decimal place, and that's how you get 18.42. To subtract 15 and 39 thousandths and 2 and 6 tenths, you are first going to use zeros to fill in the empty spaces. You are then going to subtract 9 from 0, which is 9. You are going to borrow from the 5, and it becomes a 4, and give 3 a 1, so it becomes 13. 13 minus 6 is 5. 4 minus 2 is 2, and 1 minus 0 is 1. Then you bring down your decimal place, and that's how you get 12.59 thousandths. To multiply 4 and 2 thousandths by 7 tenths, you first must write it down. The decimal places do not have to line up. When you multiply, 7 times 2 is 14, 7 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1, 7 times 4 is 28. You then count your decimal places, and then you get 3. You move the decimal place over 3 times, and that's how you get 2 and 814 thousandths. To divide 2 tenths into 1 and 6 hundredths, you first need to get rid of your decimal point. Anytime you're dividing, you can never have the divisor a decimal point. So you're going to move it over one place. But whatever you do to one side, you must do to the other. So you're going to move the decimal place over once. And that's how you get the equation of 2 divided into 10 and 6 tenths. You are then going to divide. 2 goes into 10 5 times. 5 times 2 is 10. You subtract that, you get 0. Bring down the 6. 2 goes into 6 3 times. 3 times 2 is 6. You subtract that, you get 0. You raise your decimal point up, and that's how you get 5 and 3 tenths. Whenever you have a problem like this, you have to remember what undoes the certain math equation. In this case, when we are subtracting, the only thing that does subtraction is addition. So you're going to add 5.8. When you do that, it cancels out. So then you do whatever you did on one side of the equal sign to the other. So you're going to add 5.8. 8 plus 2 is 10. 5 plus 2 is 7. Bring your decimal place down, and that's how you get W equals 7. In this equation, we have addition instead of subtraction. So we are going to subtract, because subtraction undoes addition. You're going to subtract 3/9, and that cancels out. You're going to do whatever you did on one side of the equation to the other. So you're going to subtract 3 and 9 tenths. We are going to move this equation to the side so we can see it better. So we have 28 subtracted by 3.9. You are then going to add a 0 to hold its place. 9 cannot be subtracted by 0, so you're going to borrow from the 8. The 8 becomes a 7, and you're going to turn the 0 into a 10. 10 minus 9 is 1. 7 minus 3 is 4. And 2 minus 0 is 2. Bring your decimal place down. That's how you get K equals 24.1. The only thing that can undo multiplication is division. So you're going to divide 1.2. That cancels out. And remember, anything you do on one side of the equal sign, you must do onto the other. Now your problem is -1 and 4/10 divided by 1 and 2/10. We're going to divide this on the other side. So you can't divide with decimals, so 1.2 is going to become 12 and 1.4 is going to become 14. We're going to add a couple of zeros because this is not going to go in evenly. 12 goes into 4 once. 12 times 1 is 12. Subtract that, you get 2. Bring down the 0. 12 goes into 20 once, and 1 times 12 is 12. Subtract that, and you get 8. Bring down the 0. And 80 divided by 12 is 6. 12 times 6 is 72. Subtract that, and you get 8. Bring down a 0, you get 6. 6 times 12 is 72. Now you can see an ongoing pattern occurring here. So your 6 is going to be repeating. So your answer will be y equals 1.166 repeating. But don't forget, it's negative. The only thing that can undo division is multiplication. So you're going to multiply 8.2 by 8.2. And that cancels out. Whatever you do on one side of the decimal, you must do onto the other. Your new equation is now -0.6 times 8.2. To do this, you are going to multiply 6 by 2, and that's how you get 12. 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. Put a 0 to hold your place value. 8 times 6 is 48. 8 times 0 is 0, plus 4 is 4. 2 plus 0 is 2. 8 plus 1 is 9. Bring down the 4. Move your decimal place over twice. And that's how you get n equals 4.92. But don't forget the negatives. To add fractions with common denominators, the denominator must stay the same. The only thing you're going to be changing is the numerator. So when you add this, you keep the denominator and you add the numerator. So 6 plus 3 is 9, and that's how you get 9/15. To subtract fractions with an uncommon denominator, you first have to find the common denominator. You would have to multiply each fraction by the opposite denominator. By this, I mean you must multiply the opposite denominators by the other fractions. So I'm going to multiply 2 into 21 over 24 and 24 into 1/2. So multiply these by 2. And you would get 42 over 48. Then multiply 1/2 by 24. And you would get 24 over 48. Now that you have these, you are going to put them in your math equation. So, you're going to write 42 over 48 minus 24 over 48. 42 subtracted by 24, just to be sure. is 18. 18 over 48. But that is not simplified. The thing that can go into 18 and 48, that is the greatest, is 3. 3 can go into 18 6 times, and 3 goes into 48 is 6. 6 goes into 18 3 times. 6 goes into 48 8 times. That's how you get the answer of 3/8. To multiply 1/4 by negative 2/3, you first must put the negative by the 2 only. You then write the fraction over the fraction bar. 2 goes into itself once, 2 goes into 4 twice. That's how you get 1/6. To divide 3/4 by 6/7, you first have to change it into a multiplication problem. Then you find your reciprocal for the second number. That would be 7/6. So now your problem is 3/4 times 7/6. You then write it over the fraction. Now you can see that you can change, because 3 goes into 6 twice, and 3 goes into itself once. 7 times 1 is 7, 4 times 2 is 8, and that's how you get 7/8. The only thing to undo addition is subtraction, so you're going to subtract 1/6. 1/6 plus subtract 1/6 cancels out. When you subtract 1/6 from 5/6, m equals 5/6 minus 1/6. 5 minus 1 over 6. That's how you get 4 over 6. But you have to simplify, and that's how you get m equals 2 over 3. To undo subtraction, you have to add. 1/5 plus 1/5 cancels out, and you add 1/5 to 3/5. N equals 3/5 plus 1/5. 3 plus 1 over 5 equals 4/5. To undo multiplication, you must divide. But you can't divide fractions. The only thing you can do is multiply by the reciprocal. The reciprocal for 1/5 is 5 over 1. That cancels out because anything times its reciprocal is 1. X times 1 is x, so it stays the same. Then you multiply 4 by 5 over 1, and that's how you get x equals 4 over 1 times 5 over 1. 4 times 5 over 1 times 1 equals 20 over 1. That's how you get x equals 20. To undo multiplication, you must divide. But when you're dividing with fractions, you multiply by the reciprocal. The reciprocal of 6 over 1 is 1/6. Anything times its reciprocal is 1, so 1 times the variable would just equal y. That's why it cancels out. 1/2 times 1/6. That's how you get 1/2 times 1/6. 1 times 1 over 2 times 6. That's how you get 1 over 12.